Coming up next, Unscrewed, followed by Anime Unleashed at midnight.
Coming up tonight, more shocking revelations on JFK's assassination. Plus, vacuum naked, live rent-free. We'll show you how. And our girl gone wired says she wishes to create happiness through her modeling. Those of you not good looking enough to create happiness through modeling might try charity work. Hey everyone, I'm Laura Swisher. You're watching Unscrewed.
Unscrewed. That's right.
And here he is, a man who once stained Monica Lewinsky's keyboard. It's Martin Sargent.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much for being here. I'll tell you, you spill a bottle of whiteout on an intern's keyboard, and all of a sudden the rumors start flying.
That whiteout had your DNA.
That's because I was huffing it, Laura. Thank God Clinton wrote that autobiography. I mean, what did late night television do without Lewinsky jokes for this many years? Seriously, now we can recycle them all again. Hey, hello, and welcome to Unscrewed, the show that sits quietly for hours, alone, in the saloon of internet culture, whittling, and then suddenly, and without provocation, stands up and knocks over a table. I'm Martin Sargent, and I'd like to tell you a story about my grandparents. When I was a boy, my grandparents let a drifter live under their porch. He didn't speak any English, and he only had one arm, but my grandparents still accepted him as part of our family, as one of their own. They fed him, sheltered him, and asked for nothing in return except that he stay out of sight in daylight hours and do a lot of physical labor. But the point is, it taught me the importance of accepting people as they are, even if they're a little different or a little less fortunate than yourself. In short, it taught me one of life's great simple pleasures, helping others. And that's why I love internet. It lets me reach out all around the world and get to know all types of people and help them. People like my internet pen pal from China, Gao Wing. Poor son of a Gao Wing. I mean, dude spends his time studying cello, mathematics, and classical dance. He even sent me a picture of him as a child dancing in a competition with his little sister. I guess in Red China, they don't know that studying math and dance is for dorks. Luckily, I was there to let him know that he is a total loser. I told him he needs to forget all that dance crap and get into cool American things like first-person shooter video games, reality television, and internet porn. I like to think by being his pen pal, I brighten up his boring, miserable, and otherwise meaningless existence. Dance and math, I mean, what a fucking waste, right? And Gao Wing is not the only online pen pal I help. There's also Lak from Poland. Lak is interested in computers, even though his is a hunk of shit. He's angry, too, and I know he's angry because he's always nattering on about some crap he calls American cultural imperialism. Shows you how uninformed they are over in Poland. I say to him, Lak, you've got better things to worry about, pal, like your teeth. I mean, seriously, don't they have dentists in Poland? I told them he'd need to go on an extreme makeover show just to walk down the street in America. But he didn't even know what I was talking about, mush-mouth swipe. Anyway. The point is, it's always good to reach out to people like Gao Wing and Lak, people less fortunate and, frankly, kind of stupid. And now, through the miracle of internet, I can reach out all over the world and make people's lives just a little bit brighter, a little bit better. I'm truly blessed, and now, thanks to me and the power of internet, so are they. Thank you very much. And by the way, just in case you meet an internet friend and then get sick of them, well, then you can just go ahead and take a swing at them, just like in this video my intern Chet downloaded off internet for my amusement.
Do it, Chris! Chris, go! I got this water flowing here, go! Go!
Clearly after, like, what, 150, 160, how many episodes we've done, we've clearly come to the end of the internet video stock. We've resorted to showing drunk frat boys slugging each other.
The interesting thing to me is that we can still lower the bar.
We can.
I didn't think we could.
Here's what we'll do.
It's like limbo.
We'll bring a camera crew out to the bar with us tonight, speaking of bars, and we'll show that for you on Monday. Hey, tonight's show is so frisky, if you don't keep a close eye on it, it'll sneak up on you and start humping your leg. Dr. James Fetzer is here to shed new light on the JFK assassination. For the first time, the truth comes out, and Dr. James Fetzer has decided to tell that truth on my TV show. And our girl gone wired is so beautiful that I suspect she was not born, but instead made by a team of Swedish scientists in a secret laboratory hidden under a glacier. That's pretty damn hot. But before all that, wouldn't it be nice if you could find somebody to do the dishes, take out the garbage, make cosmopolitans, and give you reach-arounds? Well, yourhouseboy.com might be the place to start looking. And here's yourhouseboy.com's founder, Steve Sorensen. How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. So first of all, what is a houseboy?
Oh, God. Wouldn't you just like to come home from a hard day's work, be greeted in an apron with your dinner ready for you, have a nice little massage on the side with that cosmopolitan you were talking about just right when you walked in the door?
Yeah, so it's kind of like Alice from the Brady Bunch, only younger, slightly more gay.
Yeah, a little bit more gay, and I would kind of diss on the Alice.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, when I get home from a hard day's work, that's the first thing I do. In fact, I have to have the jacuzzi ready for me when I get home.
And you have the houseboy to do that?
Oh, I sure do. In fact, Justin's right here, sitting right beside me, getting ready to give me a massage because this interview is just a little too tense for me.
That's right. Now, how big is this houseboy industry?
Oh, it's pretty big. You've got several sites online that have houseboys, and we have just tapped into that.
Let's say I, Martin Sargent, want to be a houseboy. What happens then?
Well,
do I have to fill out a form,
first of all,
paperwork?
You're going to have to tell me how big you are.
Oh, I stand about 6'4".
That's not what I'm talking about. If you're going to be my houseboy...
Oh, you mean the whole 9-inch thing?
Oh, I'm talking about... Whip it out, Martin. If you're 9 inches, I want you to be my houseboy.
How much I get paid for that?
Oh, I'm going to give you anything that you want.
Really?
I'm going to give you your salary. I'm going to give you your health care. And I'm going to give you a nice pat on the ass and tuck you into bed every night.
Oh my God! but I mean, I could be a house host too. You're a house host. You're
I'm a house host.
So people are out there looking.
Boy, I tuck him into bed every night.
Are there more house boys or house hosts on the open houseboy market right now?
There's more house boys. It's a 2-to-1 market.
What? You're kidding me?
Not at all.
So are they in great?
Boys are out there.
Is that driving prices down for the services?
Not at all. Not at all. In fact, it is a host market. I've got houseboys lining up from all parts of the country.
You're kidding. On this
Is
side
that a threat to your houseboy right now, just so he stays in line?
Oh, not at all. He likes his ass slapped by Big Daddy. In fact, I asked him to call me Big Daddy.
Does he? Now, come on. Okay, how old are you and how old is your houseboy?
Oh, Martin.
So rude.
Now, why would I want to disclose those types of things?
What, are we talking like 40 to 18? I mean, what's the range? Just give me an idea.
I'm in my 40s, and he's in his 20s.
Okay, and you say his name is Justin, and he's right there next to you?
His name is just in time.
And can we talk to him? All right, let's put Justin next to the camera. There he is. Hey, Justin, how you doing?
How you doing, Justin? Really good.
Give Justin the phone for a second.
Here you go.
All right, he's handing Justin the phone. Justin, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Did you really like hanging out with this old dude? Tell me I'm straight. Because, no, seriously, are you like with other guys on the side or whoever you're with, or are you just making money? Are you actually in love with this guy?
Oh, you want me to kiss and tell, huh?
I don't know if I want you to kiss right now. You know, usually on this program when we have people, they do kiss.
I'm shirking my duties here.
Show me how much you love each other right now.
Massage.
There's a little massage.
Each other.
It's employer-employee.
It's definitely a working relationship.
Well, that's fantastic.
Boy, come on.
There it is. American capitalism at its best. Steve Sorensen, founder of yourhouseboy.com. Thanks so much for being on the program. And Justin, Good luck to you, man. I hope it lasts a really long time.
I did too.
I mean, what happens when the houseboy turns like, 25?
You get a new houseboy.
You just get a new houseboy. Go to
Put a new ad up.
Unbelievable stuff. You learn something new every night here on Unscrewed. Hey, stick around. It's assassination science and new, never-before-revealed high-tech insights into the JFK conspiracy just ahead.
Anime Unleashed, next.
Welcome back to Unscrewed. Who killed John Fitzgerald Kennedy on November 22nd, 1963? The debate has been raging for months, maybe longer. Was it Lee Harvey Oswald acting alone or multiple mystery gunmen? My next friend believes he has the answer and has written about it in his book, Assassination Science. Here's Dr. James Fetzer. Hey, James. Great to have you on the program. Thank you. So before we get into it, scale 1 to 10, how sure are you that Lee Harvey Oswald was not the lone gunman?
He not only wasn't the lone gunman, Martin, he wasn't even a shooter.
Really?
Yeah, he was actually on the second floor in a lunchroom where he was observed by co-workers at 11:45, at 12, at 12:15, at 12:25, and he was confronted by a motorcycle patrolman 90 seconds after the assassination at 12:30.
So he was completely set up. He had nothing to do with it.
He was completely set up.
How close was, we've all seen Oliver Stone's JFK. How close was that movie to what you believe actually happened?
Actually, Oliver Stone's movie is the most comprehensive, complete, and accurate presentation of what happened in Dealey Plaza on 22 November 1963 ever presented to the American people through the mass media.
Really? You've been studying this for how many years now?
About a dozen.
And what have you found through
Well,
your
I've been working with the best people to ever study this case, Martin. We've discovered, for example, right off the bat, that Malcolm Kilduff, the acting press secretary, pointed to his right temple in explaining that Jack Kennedy had been killed by a shot right through the head. We've discovered that Charles Crenshaw, a physician who was present at the time, made drawings of it, including a shot to the throat, before and after an incision that was made for a tracheostomy, a simple straight incision, and he's drawn a massive blowout to the back of the head caused by that shot from in front.
That doesn't look anything like Kennedy in that picture.
Well, that's an abs.
That dude was bald, first of all.
But the Warren Commission reversed the trajectories, Martin, so that when you see in that other diagram 3 shots from behind, that's what they told us about 9 months later. So all hokum, because on radio and television, those shots from front to the right temple and to the throat were widely broadcast on radio and television both the day of the assassination.
So most of the Warren Commission is total hokum?
The Warren Commission was written to give a case for a predetermined conclusion. It was not a search for truth.
I don't know. I think that I could get an old Italian rifle off 3 shots in 5.7 seconds. I mean, who can't, really?
I think it would be most unlikely you could hit anything, Martin.
So the X-rays of JFK, you think that they were falsified?
We went back to reconstruct the case from the ground up, beginning with the autopsy X-rays, which are usually taken to be the best evidence in the case. David W. Mandick, MD, PhD, has discovered that the lateral cranial X-ray of his skull from the right side was patched by imposing material much too dense to be human bone right here. So unless the whole of Jack Kennedy's head was nothing but solid bone, unless Jack Kennedy was a bonehead, this was a contrivance.
And you even go so far to say is that they substitute another person's brain for the autopsy.
That's correct. Jack had about half his brains blown out in Dealey Plaza. To conceal that, once you patch up the hole, there's no place for that brain to go. They substituted someone else's brain for the brain of JFK. That's the finding of a world authority on the human brain.
You're kidding. And the whole thing with Oswald, completely manufactured evidence against him.
Well, Oswald was a peripheral figure. He knew Jack Ruby, for example. We have multiple witnesses who attest to that. And Ruby, of course, shot him to silence him, no doubt on behalf of the mob who provided some of the shooters. But this was not a mob action by itself.
Who was it that actually killed Kennedy? And why did they do it?
Well, there were multiple motives that went into this. The Texas oilmen wanted to preserve their oil depletion allowance. The CIA was afraid it was going to be shattered into bits after misleading Jack about the Bay of Pigs. The Joint Chiefs were very upset with Jack. He had not invaded Cuba against their unanimous recommendation. He'd gone ahead and signed an above-ground test ban treaty with the Soviet Union against their unanimous opposition. Now he's pulling our forces out of Vietnam, where they thought a stand had to be taken against international communism. They thought Jack was part of the problem, not the solution. J. Edgar Hoover wanted to stay on as director. Jack had already decided he was going to retire him after the next election. Lyndon wanted to be president of all of the people, and Jack was going to drop him.
You've thought a lot about this, haven't you?
Well, I'll tell you, there's no avenue, Martin, into this case that doesn't lead to the same conclusions. This was a frame-up.
Well, we were just talking about the X-ray images being doctored. Well, we've got more doctored images coming up. We're going to finish this fascinating conversation with Jim after the break. We have compelling new evidence that the famous Zapruder film was faked. Stick around.
Coming up next, Anime Unleashed.
Thanks for coming back. Before the break, my friend Jim Fetzer, editor of Assassination Science, dissected the inaccuracies concerning the Warren Commission's take on the JFK assassination. Now, we've already discussed the altered X-ray reports, the brain substitution, and the fact that Oswald was clearly framed. Now, let's talk about the Zapruder film, the most famous document in the assassination, the little film that everyone has seen. You say that that wasn't even real.
Well, it's fascinating, Martin. There's even a debate over whether Zapruder took the film at all. But the film, the extant film, what's available to us now, has been massively edited. Whole sequences of frames have been taken out. A different foreground has been combined with a different background using techniques of optical printing and special effects.
How do you know this?
Oh, we've done very meticulous scientific studies.
Do you have the film?
We have the extant film, and we can prove what's missing, and we have witnesses who have actually seen the more complete film. And what they talk about as being present in the more complete film coincides with our inferences. The image you just saw, by the way, is a special effect showing brains bilging out to the front, when in fact they were all blasted out to the left rear, in fact with such force that a motorcycle patrolman to the left rear thought he'd been shot himself. A big triangular chunk of Jack's skull was found on the grass to the left rear the next day by a medical student. But when it was turned over to the FBI, Martin, fortunately, it's a good thing it was photographed because it mysteriously disappeared like a lot of other important evidence in this case.
Well, I wish that we could afford to show the Zapruder film, but we couldn't. But we do have a Japanese reenactment using models. Take a look at this.
This is the original route of the parade, isn't it?
It says the parade route had been suddenly changed the morning of that day. It was turning like this.
Here is the book depository building. The sniper was supposedly here on the 6th floor.
Oswald didn't wear red cloth, did he?
Did you learn anything from that? Did you glean any new information on the case?
Accent on the word supposedly, because Lee Oswald was actually on the 2nd floor drinking a Coke when the assassination went down. But the motorcade route was wrong. In fact, we have 15 indications of Secret Service complicity in setting him up for the hit, Martin. The manhole covers weren't welded down. They didn't cover the open windows. They didn't have an intelligence unit distributed through the city. 8, 10, 12 spectators were allowed to spill out into the street. They took an improper route. The vehicles were all in the wrong order. The driver, Martin, actually brought the limousine, pulled it to the left, and brought it to a halt in Dealey Plaza after bullets began to be fired to make sure Jack would be killed.
Man, you really want to believe this, don't you? You really do.
They had to take it out because it was such an obvious indication of Secret Service complicity.
We got to run here, but when do you think it's going to become public record fact that there was a conspiracy and it wasn't a lone gunman who did this?
It's established, Martin. You look at the evidence, there's no alternative conclusion to draw. No other inference is reasonable.
Jim, it's been great having you. You got to check out all Jim's books. It's a great Zapruder film hoax, which is all about the film, assassination science, and, of course, murder in Dealey Plaza. Jim Fetzer, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Martin.
Fantastic stuff. And now, a shot to the heart. And who's to blame? Compelling evidence suggests Girls Gone Wired. Tonight's tall glass of trollop tipple is Tanya Amazon. Tanya's goal in life is to always have new shoes. Well, I too have a passion for new shoes, and I'll tell you why. As a boy, my father was a cobbler. He worked day and night, pounding and stretching his leather, making it just as buttery smooth as Tanya's golden ass. But sadly, once righted, father's shoes were all the same. Tiny, high-heeled boots, more befitting the cloven hoof of a satyr than the foot of any man. In short, they were hideous. But to keep from breaking father's heart, I wore those boots, and I paid a heavy toll, for the beatings in the schoolyard were unmerciful. Then one day, unable to sell even a single pair of boots, father went barking mad and had to be committed. And since that day, I've bought and worn a new pair of shoes with every new day. For more Tanya, visit her site at TanyaAmazon.com. Jim Fetzer, what do you think of Tanya Amazon?
And I thought I had a great job, Martin.
You're damn right. All I know is, how about the Tanya Amazon would look fantastic in a pillbox hat, don't you think? All right, after the break, we will channel the ghost of Lee Harvey Oswald right here on this set. Stick around, everyone. Well, there are still a few haggard shards left in the Unscrewed Doritos bag, just enough life-giving MSG to use our orange fingers to play with ourselves. So, Laura, you remember when you were a young girl of 9 or 10 and you used to try to buy beer and cigarettes and porno mags from the 7-Eleven?
I was 12, and I always had someone to do it for me. So.
Okay, well, then you'll probably be pretty good at tonight's game, the subject of which is, can you get served? That's right, it's an English game, and you are an English liquor store. As a little boy, now I'm going to try to buy...
What can I get you?
Can I have some business, please?
See, I got it, because I hit the button at the right time. Now I'm going to move on and try to buy some beer. Listen for the voice.
Anything else, sir?
Can I have a pack of fags, please? What do you take me for?
I screwed it up, man.
There? What can I get you?
Can I have some business?
I'm terrible at this. Hey, that's manopies.com if you want to poison your body with virtual intoxicants. Wasn't that just a great show?
Delightful.
A lot of fun. We're out of town, though. We're going to have to channel the ghost of Lee Harvey Oswald tomorrow. Thanks to our friends James Fetzer, Steve Sorensen, Girl Gone Wired, Tanya, and The Swish. Good night. We'll see you at the bar, everyone.
What do you think?
Coming up next, Anime Unleashed.